DuroMax XP12000EH Generator-12000 watt gas or propane-powered home backup and RV ready. 50 state-approved dual-fuel electric start portable generator, black and blue. General came great, no damage or parts missing. Be advised does not bring oil. Started right up on propane, works great. Concealed in the box was damage to spark plug wire and damage to ground battery wire. A great generator. Get the warranty. Because it's heavy to lift and move for a small person, I installed caster locking wheels. Moves easy now. So far so good, we will see when we get another hurricane. I rarely write reviews, but I know for this purchase, I relied somewhat heavily on the verified reviews. First off, I work in the construction world, and feel I have a above-average aptitude for troubleshooting, installation, and confidence of use. The generator came on a truck with a Tommy gate, and the driver unloaded and placed in the garage for my wife. I was out of town, trucking company communicated well and timely. I put the accessories on, i.e. handles, wheels, etc., which was a semi-easy task. I will note the generator is heavy. I don't have an exact weight, but I had to grunt a little to move it around without the wheels. I filled with oil, full synthetic, fresh 93 grade fuel, and hooked the battery up and let it sit for a few hours. The generator fired right up with the electric start, and ran fairly good but was a little choppy and ran hard. I turned it off and checked oil and for any issues, leaks. I let it sit for a little longer and started back up and still ran a little rough, which I attributed to being a new start with no load to the motor. I hooked the generator up with the provided whip, into my 50A generator plug, that I wired into my panel. As soon as I started turning on breakers, the generator revved up and was singing perfectly with no hiccups. I turned on all breakers, including my A, C and furnace, for blower fan. I live in Florida on the Space Coast, and this generator will be vital during hurricane season. The A, C for some reason didn't start up at first, but after some time I did get it to kick on, and the generator revved up more and still sounded good. The noise level is actually quiet for its size and capability, but it's by no means quiet. At the time it was running the majority of the lights in my house, A, C, TV, fans, fridge, and microwave. It finally tripped and pulled too much when my wife decided to run the dishwasher. I will add to my review on my next maintenance run, or use after a power outage. I put 0 stars for tech support because I have not needed it to this point, so I can't accurately rate this. My Coleman PowerMate 6250 generator has gotten me through over 10 hurricanes, but it just isn't big enough to continue in the house I am in now. I've moved on up. I researched and scoured and finally decided on this particular unit because it is in the correct power curve for what I need, and if I went to the bigger unit the cost doubles. I needed a dedicated 50 amp run as well as a 30 amp. This has both plus a switch to choose the correct power. It is also dual fuel, so it runs on both gasoline and propane. And it has hookups for both, so switch over can be accomplished in a minute. The generator comes shipped with no oil, so you will need at least a quart of say 30 weight. It also comes with handles and rear wheels that have to installed. It has rubber pads that sit on the front of the frame. I just propped the generator up in 4x4 blocks to facilitate the installation. I connected the negative cable of the sealed 12-volt battery and filled the 8-gallon fuel tank. Set the choke to closed, turned the fuel valve to open, turned the key, and she started right up in less than 3 seconds. Once she got warmed after 30 seconds, the choke was opened and she ran up to full. I then wanted to see what she would do if I wanted to run propane, so I reached over and shut off the fuel. While the generator was using the fuel up in the carbs bowl, one connected the LP hose to the generator, and then to the LP tank. Once the engine sputtered and died, I reached down to where I company. I flipped the breaker on the panel so the outlets would supply energy and tested all the outlets for proper voltage. Everything worked fine, and it even has an auto throttle if you don't need it to supply a constant high voltage load. I tested it by running it through the home panel and seeing just what necessities it could handle. For us to be comfortable during extended outages, this unit handled a 4-ton AC with ceiling fans running, LED TVs, 2 computers, assorted lights on in the house, outlets, the clothes washer. If the AC was powered down, it would then power the range for cooking as well as the clothes dryer. It ran smooth and consistent with no bogging down and no tripped breakers. I am 100% satisfied with this unit and hope it lasts as long as my old standby, which will now be retired to do shop chores. Along with the generator, I purchased a 12-foot LP hose with standard 3/8 fitting and a 50-foot 50-amp cord for attaching to the house panel via 50-amp input socket, plus a cover for the generator. It's been working great. A lot quieter than my other generator. I run this from a couple hours a day to 10, hasn't missed a beat. Very happy with it so far. With the nor'easter that caught many of us off guard here in the Philadelphia region this past weekend, we were without power for 30+ hours. This was the first outage that I've used this generator and love that it is a dual fuel unit. I will only use propane in this thing as I've had issues with gasoline-powered generators in the past, especially if you leave fuel in tank too long. Click link in description for purchase and more reviews.